Okay, welcome back again after our 11 o'clock news break. Our medical herbalist and nutritionist Gabriel McSharry joins us in studio. Very good morning to you once again, Gabriel.
Good morning, Niall.
Now, there's a couple of questions that we'd held over from last week, and every week this happens. People are ringing in after you leave saying they want to know X, Y and Z. So we try and get through as many questions as possible, and indeed if you have any queries for Gabriel, you can text them in now to 083 3500 530, or indeed you can call us on 0818 365 500. Now first, Gabriel, vertigo. This caller suffers from vertigo, and any suggestions of what you could take?
Yeah, it's a tough one because it could be caused by many things, but the treatment would be based on the cause, really. So a few things that can cause it or can be underlying there is cardiovascular disease or poor circulation, and in this case I'd use certain herbs for the vascular system and circulation, and it may improve it. One that comes to mind is ginkgo biloba, which has shown in some pilot trials to a beneficial effect on vertigo. Hawthorn is another one that's a good circulatory stimulant, and how that may work is just improve circulation to the ears. And that could be the genesis of the vertigo. If there's an ear infection and there's inflammation there and so on, then obviously the treatment is a little bit different. If it's something that just comes on around menopause for women, then there's certain herbs like Simicifuga that have shown to be of benefit.
All right, okay. And vertigo, I mean, it can take different forms, doesn't it? You have the obvious one where people are in a plane or whatever, but I know some people who get vertigo when they climb a few steps of a ladder. Yeah,
definitely. So there's a benign positional vertigo is the most common one. So 16% of vertigo is this, and it lasts for a few seconds. So it comes on and now and again throughout the day. When one gets it climbing, I think it's possibly due to the change, like going up the stairs and so on. Obviously there's changes in pressures and so on, and downward forces within the body. So the inner ear is very sensitive, and if that's the reason for the vertigo presents like we'll say a sea, if you're just after getting off a boat from rough seas, so that'll give you an idea of what it feels like. So it's very disturbing for people,
Yeah, absolutely. Now, this caller snores quite badly. It's a common problem, as we know. And any help for this at all? You'd probably be a millionaire if you get a cure for snoring.
Yeah, I'd wonder, is it the caller that texted in or the caller's partner? But anyway, yeah, snoring is I think it's something like 45% of people in the States snore, but so it's a common thing, I'm sure, in Ireland too. And I have 10 natural options for snorers here.
10 of them?
10, and I'll give you them, and they're also they can improve the sleep. Now, sleep is very important, obviously, for many things, and if one is a snorer, like snoring is caused by reduced airways stemming from either your throat or nasal passageway, and it's vibrations as the air struggles to get through the soft palate, tongue and tonsils and so on, and the muscles in the back of the throat. So that's where it comes from. But and I think conventionally, for that and for sleep apnea, of which snoring is part of the pathology, there's things like surgery and so on. But definitely before I try them, I try these top 10 things that I can recommend. Okay. One is to sleep on your side and not your back. So again, the reason is the muscles relax more when one's on their back. Now, that's easier said than done, and when you're in your sleep, if you even try to fall asleep on your side, you might roll over on your back. But I suppose an old folk thing here is to sew a tennis ball into the back of your pyjamas.
Sew a tennis ball into the back of your pyjamas?
So if you sew on like a pocket on the back of your pyjamas top, we'll say, and put a tennis ball into it in the middle.
So it makes it obviously uncomfortable for you to sleep on your back.
And you roll back on your back. Something to try. Number 2, raise the head of your bed. So a simple tip can diminish the collapsing of the airways. Simply raise the bed about 4 inches by placing blocks or wedges under the mattress. Normalise weight, very important. So if you're carrying extra weight, even around the neck area and so on, it's shown to be one of the factors in snoring. Now, you know, weight normalisation or weight loss is a big thing, so see a nutritionist there. You can do throat and tongue exercises. It's something that may be beneficial. I have a few here, but I won't go through them, but maybe look on the internet for them. Use a steam or a steam bowl. So again, an old-fashioned way of clearing out the airways of any gunk or inflammation or whatever is you boil the kettle, pour it into a bowl, let the first steam go, and then put your head over it with a towel over your head. And you can put in maybe some decongestant essential oils, a couple of drops of eucalyptus or albus oil or something like that in there, and that'll clear out any reduce inflammation or clear out any catarrh or mucus in the airways, and that could be beneficial. A neti pot is also it's like a small little teapot. It's been used for thousands of years in India, but it's a way you can put in salt water and you can clear out your nasal passageway before bed with that. Nasal strips may be beneficial. These are things, soccer players used to wear them a few years ago, but now they don't seem to be wearing them anymore.
No, it was a fashion statement at one stage, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it must have went out of vogue. But it's something that it does open the nasal airways a small bit more, and it may be beneficial. Avoid alcohol, muscle relaxant and so on, and that can increase snoring. Pasteurized milk, especially if you drink it before bed, it can create a lot of mucus in the mouth and the throat and so on. And avoid big meals in the evening.
That can be a problem as well.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
There are only 10.
Top 10, and some interesting ones there. I like the one with the tennis ball, but anyway, I can see people taking out the sewing box tonight to sew their tennis ball into their nightwear. Okay, again, a common problem, and we've lots of questions coming in. We'll get to as many as we can. Sleeplessness. This listener has trouble getting to sleep at night. Even if she's tired, she can end up lying awake for hours. Yeah,
and a big thing, and specifically, it's on the increase apparently. So there's a number of. I have about 40 guidelines to a good night's sleep. I have them on my website, www.westernherbalmedicine.com. So go there and read them, and they contain they're all evidence-based things that are shown to improve sleep. Now, they're mainly around the environment and so on. As an example, we really should sleep in total darkness. People can be sensitive to light. And this is proven in sleep labs and so on. So, you know, how many electronic equipments do we have in the bedroom these days? But even the small little light on a TV and standby, or an alarm clock, or the mobile phone, or a smoke alarm. So all these things you can cover up and so on, and make sure you sleep in darkness. So that's just an example. I have 30 or 40 of them up there. So check them out.
Check out the website and see.
But herbal medicine's brilliant here. There's some brilliant sleep aids. First few that jump to mind, St. John's wort, I find a brilliant sedative, especially if you take a dose or two in the evening time. Valerian is another kingpin in herbal medicine. It's really good. You can take that throughout the day. A general nervous system tonic. Other ones, chamomile, lemon balm, motherwort, all these can be really good as an aid. On a dietary level, watch stimulants, caffeinated beverages, even during the day. Now, it used to be don't drink them after 6 p.m. and on, and it's a good bit of advice. But we found that there's some people sensitive to caffeine, and if they have a coffee in the middle of the day, it could keep them up at night time. So really, in that case, they should avoid it, or maybe decaffeinated beverages. Dark chocolate and black tea and some of these sport drinks, they're other sources of stimulants, and really watch them in the diet.
Okay, check the website, as Gabriel said. A couple more questions we've received already this morning before we take a short break. When I go to the toilet, it's sore for the past 2 months. I've had a urine test and it showed up clear. Any particular reason why that would be the case? Would you know?
Well, I guess if you, the first thing I'd say there is go to your GP, get it checked out. But if you've had a urine test, maybe you've done that. Possibly an infection. However, if there was an infection there, it'd show up. There'd be white blood cells or some immune markers in the urine on a test. Other than that, if it's come on suddenly, I'm not too sure. Was there a trauma, a sport injury, or did it just strain the whole urinary tract area or lower abdomen? Not too sure. Need to do a consultation on that one.
All right, okay. Psoriasis of the hair dispersing, I presume they mean their scalp.
Sure, yeah.
What shampoo could Gabriel recommend for that?
Yeah, well, I'd use ones with benign ingredients, there's ones generally in the health food store that have less toxic ingredients. Some of the emulsifiers and that use in shampoos. Some of the medicated ones, I wouldn't use that often. There's an awful lot of toxic, in my opinion, toxic ingredients there as well. So I'd use really just one with not much aroma agents. And not much preservatives or anything like that. Get a benign enough shampoo, and if you want, get essential oils like rosemary or tea tree, and you can add them to it in small amounts, and that kind of improves them for the psoriasis. But really, anything that's we'll say hypoallergenic, so it won't irritate the skin in general. That they're your best ones to use.
All right, okay. Question on underactive thyroid.
Yeah, so hypothyroidism, again, something that's quite common. Okay, so a number of things. Maybe diet first. There's a class of foods, mainly the cruciferous vegetables, and they contain goitrogens. Goitrogens is a constituent in all these. Now, by and large, all these foods are healthy, and these vegetables are healthy for normal the average person. People who have an underactive thyroid gland should either avoid them altogether or really reduce them. Make sure they don't eat too much of them because they can have an inhibitory effect on the gland. I suppose a few off the top of my head: cabbage, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, broccoli, and there's a few more. Again, go online or on my website, get cruciferous vegetables, ones containing goitrogens. Now, Kilken reduces them a bit, but there's still some in there. So they'd be things to definitely don't eat too much of. Other things, watch, so the thyroid gland really needs quite a high resource of iodine. And all our glands do, but thyroid seems to need has a heavier appetite for it. So things that inhibit iodine, like iodine is halogen. So if you look at the periodic table of elements, there's a class of halogens. Iodine is one, so is fluorine, chlorine and bromine. Now, the latter three are actually toxins, and we don't really need any of these in the body. We do need a lot of iodine though. But the latter three, chlorine, fluorine, bromine, displace iodine in the body, so they bind to the iodine receptors. So we need to avoid them. So where do we get them? Fluoride, they add it to the water. It's in our toothpaste. It's in medication. Chlorine, they add it to the water. It's in disinfectant products. And the bromide is... our bromide derived chemicals are in our carpets, our curtains, or a sofa. It's a fire retardant, and under an EU law that came in there a few years ago, it's now added to all these, even the mattress. So, I mean, it's something that's going to be hard to avoid, but as much as you can, avoid sources of these, and that'll have a beneficial effect. Right. We have a number of herbal medicines that are good for an underactive thyroid that nourish the gland.
Okay, all right. Keep your questions coming. 083 3500 530 is the text. Call us 0818 365 500. Back with more with Gabriel in a few moments. It's 23 minutes past 11 now.
Ocean FM. Northwest Today with Rogers Topline Ballymote. New name, but still the same value close to home. Rogers Topline, the builders, hardware merchant leader in the Northwest. 071 918 3318. RogersTopline.ie.
Ocean FM.
Self-assessed income tax payers. October 31st is the pay and file deadline. By using Ross, Revenue's online service, you'll have more time and get a faster response. It's the simple, easy way to pay and file. You can register for Ross or simply find out more about it on our website, revenue.ie. The October 31st deadline is only 3 weeks away. Pay and file on time. Avoid a surcharge, interest, penalties, and reduce your risk of a tax audit.
Keown Carpet and Flooring, Ballyshannon and Donegal Town. Autumn sale now on. Wall-to-wall clear out of carpet, vinyl, rugs and wooden floors. At prices you'll be floored by. Large stock of remnants from €10. Yes, €10. All at Keown Carpet and Flooring, Ballyshannon and Donegal Town. Phone 071 9858 081.
What's your van saying about you?
Unprofessional.
Thankfully, as Europe's #1 seller of vans, you can now scrap your old van for a new Renault Kangoo, Traffic or Master. Prices start at an amazing €8,990 ex-VAT and come with Ireland's first ever 5-year warranty with unlimited mileage. Visit scrapmyvan.ie or your local Renault dealers, Enda McCarrick Motors Sligo or Highland Motors Donegal. Terms and conditions apply. Price excludes delivery and related charges.
Pregnant and can't wait for your hospital scan? Come see your baby. Innervision Ultrasound Castlebar. Call 094 9060 677 or visit innervision.ie.
Just another day in the life of a happy Tone at Home customer. No time to get to the gym? We make the gym travel to you. Lose weight, tone up, or just want to feel good in your skin? Rent all types of gym equipment, from vibro plates to cross trainers. Delivery nationwide at a time that suits you. See toneathome.ie or call the nationwide booking line on 01 895 6743. Tone at Home. We make the gym travel to you.
Cool Kids Wine Street Sligo. Free plush baby blanket when you spend €50 or more in store this week. Free delivery of nursery items, so come in and talk to us for all your nursery and baby needs. Cool Kids Wine Street Sligo.
Kevin Doyle, Republic of Ireland striker, talks about milking it on the biggest stage.
You try to milk it. As a striker, there's, people expect you to score, so when you do, it's a nice feeling and try to make the most of it.
Milk is a natural source of nutrients, including calcium, protein and vitamins B2 and B12. Ideal for a healthy lifestyle. Go on, milk it for all it's worth. Milk, what's in it for you? Visit milkitforallitsworth.ie.
To have your say, call the Northwest Today comment line on 0818 365 500. Text your comment to 083 3500 530.
Okay, welcome back. Gabriel McSherry's in studio with us. A mallet finger, probably club finger they're talking about, is it?
Yeah, I've heard of club finger or clubbing in the fingers, and it's really at the end, the distal phalanges, they call them, is enlarged, and the nail is kind of bulged up a bit. And so I think from memory, it's there in it has an insight into pathology in the body that could be a lung disease, a respiratory disease, or it could also maybe have something to do with the heart. I can't remember offhand, but it's something that if you go to your GP, he'll tell you straight away.
All right, okay. Any help for a 15-year-old that has bad period pains every month?
Yeah, I mean, so obviously they've just gone through Menarche in probably the last 2 years, so it's probably there. It's not something that's new in the last few months, it's probably there since Menarche in the last 2 years. Again, there's some really good herbal medicines here. Vitex Agnus Castus is one, if used correctly, can be extremely beneficial at balancing the hormones, specifically if they were out of kilter since the start of Menarche, since the start of the menstrual cycle. So but there's other ones I use in there, Don Quai, and again it depends on the person. There's a number of dietary factors that can improve it, again, that work on the endocrine system or the hormonal system. But herbs are really good here, yeah.
All right, okay. This listener wants to know, if bread is gluten-free, is it also yeast-free? And this person cannot have anything with yeast in it, so they presume they cannot eat home-baked brown bread.
Well,
or homemade bread, I should say.
Yeah, well, if they make it themselves at home and they don't use yeast, then there won't be yeast in it. But I suppose if it's bought off the shelf and says just homemade brown bread, it more than likely has yeast in it. If it's gluten-free, is it yeast-free? That's a no. It should say on the label yeast-free, and that's what you should look for. But a lot of actually bakeries and that make gluten-free bread may also make it yeast-free, just to add a bit to it.
Okay, just look at the packaging, I suppose.
Yeah, it'll be on the label, definitely.
All right, could you ask Gabriel the reason for scalp tenderness? I seem to get this regularly. It's sore to touch and sore when brushing my hair.
Yeah, it could be psoriasis or one of these atopic dermatitis conditions. I'd really need to see it and take a case history. It could be a few things, but possibly if it's there if there's scaling skin, like if there's like a dandruff coming off, it could be a psoriasis,
All right, okay. Is it noni juice or noni juice? You were talking about noni juice.
Noni juice,
Can you just repeat briefly what you said last week about that?
Noni juice is a very nutritious juice that's heavily promoted there as a health juice and an elixir of youth. And I've no qualms with it. It is a nutritional juice. However, I think you'll get as much nutrition from 100% blueberry juice or raspberry juice or blackberry juice that you can buy in the local stores, the local shops, for probably half the price of the noni juice. So noni juice, I guess it comes from the noni berry, and it's from South America, and we're always looking for the great, wonderful new thing that's going to make us young or whatever, or heal all, but with the profile that's done on it is beneficial for health, but maybe look closer to home and you'll get something as good for half the price.
All right, okay. A listener suffers from itchy ears. Treatment received from doctor for dry ears, but this doesn't work. Any recommendations at all?
Yeah, itchy ears. So again, it could be a psoriasis. So psoriasis generally affects the scalp, the ears, and between the eyebrows and stuff. So there's a herb called chickweed, and an oil maceration of chickweed. So soak the herb in oil. I have it in the dispensary, but you'd put a few drops into the ear, and that could help. It's an anti-puritic, so it reduces itching. Is there an infection there maybe, or things like garlic oil as well can be beneficial. Again, you don't need much, just 1 or 2 drops into the ear, and it could alleviate it.
All right, a text from an MS sufferer who's is on a waiting list to have a supra pubic catheter. Does that make sense? Supra pubic catheter put in. But anyway, in any case, the sufferer is plagued with infections. They're on antibiotics nearly every week. Is there anything they can take at all?
Right, yeah, so generally they're probably talking about urinary tract infections. So a catheter, suprapubic catheter is like a rod that goes up the urinary tract so you can urinate. But people with MS in that, they may lose bladder function and kidney function. And if obviously if the urine backs up in the bladder, it's more prone to infection. So is there anything you can do? I'd consume 100% cranberry juice. Again, you can get it in the health food stores, maybe in the supermarkets, but you don't need to consume much of it, so probably for this person large volumes of liquids may not be, if they're waiting for a catheter, it may not be advised. But with 100% cranberry juice, you don't drink large amounts. You drink a shot glass full, so 40 mils, and it's quite bitter. And that is antiseptic when it gets down into the urinary tract, and it's antibacterial, antimicrobial, and that can be beneficial. There's a number of herbs for the urinary tract, but again, I need to know more about the situation. I'd be cautious if someone's waiting on a catheter. It may mean that their bladder can't empty, and for that reason, then you'd have to really structure the treatment.
Okay, all right. Croup is a terrible condition. Croup in children can be very frightening.
Yeah, definitely, you know. So again, we have a number of antitussive herbs, which are antitussive, meaning they reduce cough. There's one or two traditional herbs for croup, and I generally make a formula of one or two specifics for croup, and then along with a couple of antitussives and an immune tonic as well, because any of these things would show that the immune system is a little low as well. You know, I mean, I gave it a number of weeks ago. You can make up like a home remedy of soaking Manuka honey or soaking a raw onion in honey for a day or two, and then straining off the honey and giving a spoon of that every couple of hours. You know, it can reduce the coughing, and we have herbs that reduce the irritation of the mucosa in the respiratory tract.
Okay, I hope you've heard of this one. Either that or somebody is having a laugh. Horny goatweed, Gabriel. Is there such a thing?
Yes, there is.
Is it good for you, this listener wants to know, or is it bad to use? I presume it's legal, first of all. It is.
It is, yes.
All right, okay. We'll just clarify that one straight away.
I mean, with herbal medicines, there's always two names, and as a medical herbalist, we'd always use botanical names, which is different. But then there's common names. Common names are nicknames for herbs, and the reason, as a medical herbalist, wouldn't use it is because identification. In different countries, we may have different common names, but horny goatweed is one that you'd see around the globe in a lot of natural sexual or potency tonics or herbal sex aids or whatever, and there is a small bit of science to show that it can be beneficial. It all really depends. If one is taking it for erectile dysfunction, it depends on the cause of the erectile dysfunction. If it's to do with the cardiovascular system or the veins and the arteries not working right or leaking, then it'll have no effect whatsoever. It's just a different pathology. But as a general tonic that may have a beneficial effect on the body's own production of testosterone and stuff, it may be beneficial along with other herbs. Panax, ginseng, Damiana, Tribulus, pine pollen. All these generally have shown in vivo, anyway, in the lab, to have an increased effect on androgens and testosterone, and therefore can be of benefit.
Okay. All right, okay. Now, could you recommend giving anything to a 2-month-old newborn baby for teething? We got gel and everything else, and it hasn't worked.
Yeah, chamomile tincture, a few drops in a bit of warm water, and mix it in, and then just dipping your finger in it and rubbing it into the gums, or a chamomile oil infusion. I give to mums in the clinic, and they just dip their finger in it and they rub the oil into the gums, and it can ease the pain a bit, it can calm baby a bit. And if baby is generally an anxious baby, then maybe some depends if they're on the breast. I'd give the mum herbs to nervine tonics to relax baby, so it'll go into the milk. And if baby's on bottle, then they can add a small bit of relaxing tea to the bottle, and that'll help just while the baby goes through this traumatic period.
All right, okay. A girl of 11 has been diagnosed with shingles. Anything you could recommend for the pain? So obviously there's a lot of pain involved there.
Well, shingles is very painful, and it's well, it sounds strange actually that an 11-year-old gets diagnosed with shingles. It's usually something that it comes from chickenpox, a virus we'd have earlier on in life, and then it's generally, I think, after the age of 50 or 60, it comes back on us. But anyway, it presents in a red rash around the body, generally around the trunk. The pain is by all accounts excruciating, and So hypericum oil topically on the rash and the sores, it's antiviral, and it can ease the pain a bit. Internal herbs, I'd use antivirals. Again, I need to know what medication she's on and so on in order so they wouldn't interact. But generally, antiviral herbs internally, as well as immune system stimulants to kind of build up the immune system, so it'll get rid of the virus or calm down the virus itself.
All right. Okay. What could be wrong if your skin tastes of salt? That's a strange question.
I'd say there'd be nothing wrong there, only that if anyone who sweats will notice that their skin tastes of salt. And if you have sweated earlier on a few hours ago and now you're not sweating and you lick your skin and there's a taste of salt, it's just a bit of salt residue left over from
just
a sweat.
The body getting rid of it.
Just the way the body controls its electrolytes. It's a natural function of the body. If we have too much salts, it'll or if the temperature is high, what we'll do is we'll dump salts and we get rid of it through the sweat.
Okay, nothing to worry about unduly there. Okay, this person has itchy soles of the feet, especially at night when they go to bed.
It could be a few things here. It could be poor circulation to the feet, and it's just presenting as an itch. Do they have varicose veins? Do they have a circulatory disorder? It's something I kind of need to see really for a full case history, but I'm not too sure about that one.
Okay, just a couple. We can't possibly get around to all the questions. Just a couple, and we will hold them over till next week, Gabriel. Just a couple before we finish. This person's given up cigarettes and finding it very, very difficult to sleep at night. Not unlike what we talked about earlier. Would you recommend the same for that person? Yeah,
definitely. And I mean, there's a few herbs for to give up cigarettes. Again, there's none of them a panacea, but they can help if it affects your sleep. There's one herb, St. John's wort, that is beneficial when giving up addiction or going through an addiction, and what it does is it calms down the nervous system. So generally the compulsion to say go back on the cigarettes or go back on alcohol or go back on an addictive substance is the nervous system kind of rearing up, and that's why they're not sleeping well and so on. So it's just that period of cold turkey they have to go through. So definitely I treat based on the symptoms, and if it's sleep, then sleep aids like St. John's wort and stuff, which also in some pilot studies have been shown beneficial to people giving up smoking.
All right. Is there anything that can help with bladder control after the removal of the prostate?
Well, yes. There's some urinary tract tonic herbs, and they can be beneficial. There's one or two that will improve tone. So the bladder is a muscular vessel, and it can use, as we age, it can lose tone like any muscle. And if one has their prostate removed, more than likely this person's over 60, and so that's probably what I'd recommend there.
Okay, just one final question, Gabriel, before we let you go. A listener has called in to say they have a 3.5-year-old daughter that's waiting to get her tonsils out. She's a constant cough. I don't want to have to keep giving her medicine. Anything herbal you could recommend in that case?
Yeah, again, the ones we mentioned for croup, again, would be beneficial here. Antitussive herbs, Thymus vulgaris, Solidago, Astragalus, and there's a few others. Again, I'd formulate them at the clinic, and I'd put in 5 or 6 different herbs there that would just be good for the cough and good for the immune system if she's getting a lot of tonsillitis.
All right, okay, we'll hold off the other questions for next week. Gabriel, as ever, thanks for joining us in studio this morning. Lots of reaction to Gabriel yet again this week. Okay, we'll take a short break. Back with the final part of the programme in a few moments. It's 18 minutes to 12.